Hey everyone, welcome to Getting Started with Jira. Today I'm going to be talking about understanding the Jira family. Now, before we get too far, if I can get a quick mic check from the chat, can you hear my voice? I have all new microphones and all this audio setup. Can I just get a confirmation, a little thumbs up? Maybe somebody just say yes on the chat here to confirm you can hear me. Uh, Okay, awesome. Perfect. Thank you, Kim, so much for that. That always leaves me a little bit paranoid, mainly only because I switched microphones and they don't always work correctly. So, just to reiterate, today, this is the Getting Started with Jira series. We are going to be doing 12 sessions of these, one a month. And today's topic is going to be understanding the Jira family. Now, why this? Why did I want to start with this? Well, mainly because when I say getting started with Jira, it can mean a lot of different things. It can mean quite a few things. And I just wanted to make sure that you all understood what Jira really is, because there's a lot of different Jiras that we're going to be covering in this class. And I want you to walk away from this session understanding all the different types of Jira. Right? I want you to know what each Jira is for, so that when it comes time to you and your company picking out a Jira, you know exactly which one's the correct one, and just give you some basics and good understanding there. I think this is super critical, right? Because Jira is such a popular tool. So many people around the world use it, and people just generally just have assumptions of what Jira is, but not really fully understand. And if you haven't heard, back in May of last year of 2024, Atlassian merged two different Jiras into one, and so we're going to be talking all about it today. Now, here's some friendly reminders before we get started. Number one, this session is being recorded and will be available on this YouTube channel after. So you might want to subscribe to this channel so that you stay up to date with all the different sessions that are going to be happening, and also so you can rewatch this session if you need to rewatch it. I do have a total of 48 trainings available on this channel that we're going to be doing all throughout 2025. So make sure you smash the subscribe button. Make sure you smash that bell notification, because you're going to want to know when I drop these videos and these live sessions. Slides are not going to be made available, but we're mainly going to be in Jira. So these are really just to help me stay organized. So just keep that in mind. No slides, but the recordings are available. So you're going to want to watch that, especially since we're going to be in Jira most of the time anyways. All the good stuff's going to happen inside the tool. Say hello in the chat. This is a live training, so this is a two-way street. Obviously, I can't hear you, but you do have the ability to type away in the chat. And so just let me know where you're from. Let me know how many years of experience you have using Jira. Let me know if you've never used Jira before. I'm very, very curious about all these different things. So take advantage of that chat there on the side to really make this class a little bit more interactive. Feel free to ask questions at any point in the chat. I am going to be monitoring it. I have a couple of stops, if you will, in my presentation here to take a look at the chat and answer questions. So if you have any questions at all, make sure you take advantage of that chat. And we are going to be having a Q&A section at the end. And so feel free to stick around to the end there so you can um, be a participant in that Q&A. And then also I have an exclusive offering for you at the end as well. So make sure you're sticking around for the entire training here. All right. Before we get into the topic, I just want to tell you a little bit about me and who I am, why you should listen to me, why does it matter, why listen to this guy up front. So first of all, my name's Alex. I've been in the Atlassian ecosystem for 8 years now, using Jira from both as an administrator and as a user. I use this tool for 12 to 14 hours almost every single day. And so I spend an unhealthy amount of time in the Atlassian ecosystem. I'm an Atlassian champion, which basically means I don't work for, but I partner with Atlassian to bring a lot of content and a lot of educational resources to you. This is why this is all possible, because of Atlassian. So thank you to Atlassian for making all this possible. Again, I don't work for Atlassian, but I do partner up with them quite a bit. I do have the ACP 120. I have the ACP 520. And I'm currently working on, hopefully, fingers crossed, before I'm shooting for end of February, early March, I'm going to try to get the ACP 620 certification. So I'm working on a couple certifications there. And if you have any questions about any of the ACP certifications or any of the new ACA certifications, again, that chat there on the side, that's where you want to go ask your questions. Aside from Atlassian, I do have a bachelor's in engineering and I have a master's in engineering as well. I have a couple of YouTube channels. This main one, Ape Tech, this is where I have over 800 videos on how to use the Atlassian tool. So again, make sure you subscribe if you haven't. I also have a podcast called The Jira Life, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I give you, along with my co-host, expert level opinions, debates, use cases on the Atlassian tool. So if you're looking for something cool there, make sure you scan that QR code. I'm also going to drop a link here in the chat so that you can all go to my other channels. It's a link tree, right? But you're going to be able to find the Jira Life podcast there at the bottom of that link tree. So with that said, that's enough about me. Hopefully, I've convinced you that I have some credibility, and we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about today. So next up is what you'll be learning. So we're going to talk about Jira Align briefly, Jira Product Discovery, Jira Service Management, and then we're going to end and mainly spend the majority of the time talking about Jira. Now, I wanted to show this to you. I wanted to show this slide to you because as you can see, there's a common denominator here, the word Jira. It's present in all four of those products. And up until, again, about 8 months ago, seven or 8 months ago, there used to be a fifth one, and Jira had a different name. And all of that has changed. And so there's been a lot of churn, a lot of changes happening with Atlassian. And we're just going to spend the next, 40 minutes or so, kind of just talking about these different products, what they're used for, their pros and their cons. I'm going to try to give you a couple of demos. Might not be able to do Jira Align, but I'll show you their product page and I'll kind of give you the use cases for why those make sense. But I'm definitely going to show you Jira Product Discovery, Jira Service Management, and of course, everybody's fan favorite, Jira. All right. So with that said, let's jump into the next slide here and let's jump into Jira Align. So we're going to start off with the hardest one. And this is mainly because Jira Align, in my opinion, is the Jira that is really designed for enterprise. This is a very, very expensive tool, very, very expensive. Unlike Jira, where it's very affordable, Jira Align is very, very expensive, but it's designed for enterprises. It's designed for very, very big companies that need to see like a 50,000-foot view of everything that's happening in their organization. This is a product that Atlassian acquired a few years ago, so it was not designed or created by Atlassian, but it is one of Atlassian's better, I wouldn't say better, but most favorite products, mainly because there's a big, huge ROI for it, right? They get a lot of money back from Jira Align. So let's go into Atlassian.com. I just want to kind of show you what this looks like so you can understand, because it's actually not that easy to find either. When you go to Atlassian's website and you go to products, you're going to see that Jira Align is not that easy to find. But if you come down to, I believe, leadership teams, then you will see Jira Align over here. And I'm just going to kind of walk you a little bit through Atlassian's I guess, marketing spiel, just so that you understand, because Jira Align is a great product, but it's usually out of reach for a lot of people. But I will tell you that Atlassian is integrating the fabric of Jira Align and Jira a little bit more. We see this in the new updated UI, and Atlassian, I haven't heard anything official or can't confirm anything official, but I do see in their marketing pictures of the new of the new Jira UI that there's some like hat tips to Jira Align, and they're trying to integrate this a little bit better. But this is what Jira Align is all about. It is designed again for these enterprises, for this portfolio project management, where you have not just the teams, right? Not just the Scrum teams planning sprints, but you have the entire stack of the entire company. And at a 50,000-foot view, you can see all the different things that are happening in your organization. So really, really powerful tool. It's a great tool that if you're a CTO, you're a CIO, you're a CEO, right? Any of these C-suites, any of these VPs, you're probably liking what you're seeing here, because it really, truly does give you a holistic view and a centralized place to be able to track a lot of really pertinent project management type of information. Again, very, very expensive tool. I will tell you that in order to even get started with it, I don't know if Atlassian's changed this, but the last time I tried to do this about 2 or 3 years ago, just signing up for it requires you to enter like a 90-day agreement with Atlassian, because it is a pretty complicated tool just to get set up. And so Atlassian has to kind of come in and hold your hand. It's a pretty expensive 90-day trial in addition to the licenses. So pretty expensive tool, but if you can get it to work correctly, And really big companies do get it to work correctly. But as you can see here, there's finances involved. There's a delivery part of it. There's program management part of it. There's a product management portion to it. And not sure what's up with this transformation, but there's a transformation section as well, right? But it's very powerful, and again, an interesting product, something that is not really reachable. So this is probably where we're gonna end it here. I just wanted you to be aware and know that Jira Align does exist. But it is a tool that, again, if unless you're an enterprise, you're not going to get a whole lot of value out of it. So how much is pricing? Nicola's asking here. So there is a pricing section here. And again, the thing I don't like about Jira Align is that you and I can't just sign up, right? It's not like Jira where you can just spool up, get a free license and start using it. Like, this is a very expensive tool, and it requires Atlassian to kind of sit with you. And as you can see here, you look at your user tier. Most companies are probably in the 1,400 to 5,000 license area. And as you can see here, your annual costs are in the millions of dollars. So it's going to be between 1 to 2, topping out at $2.5 million. So pretty expensive USD. So yeah. So if you're doing that, then this is probably going to be very comparable. This is an enterprise tool. This is a very expensive enterprise tool, but probably one that you might want to investigate. Again, Atlassian will hold your hand with this. Atlassian's pretty good, right? Atlassian spends a lot of resources on getting folks into Jira Align, mainly because this return here, this $1 million, is very lucrative for Atlassian. So definitely check it out. There are a lot of prerequisites for the instance, even before going to Align. Yes. So again, this is not a tool for beginners. This is definitely the most advanced version, the most mature version of anything that Atlassian offers. Again, I just wanted you to be aware of it, especially if you work like in a big company that's got 5,000 users or more. It's something you may want to consider because it does address a lot of the limitations that just Jira, regular Jira has when it comes to scalability and enterprise. So just situational awareness, but that is what Jira Align is. So let's see. I'm going to check here the chat. Again, if you're joining for the first time, just feel free to say hello. Tell me where you're logging in from. And then let me know how many years of experience you have with Jira, if you have any. And if you have 0, let me know as well, because I'm always welcome, or I'm always happy to see a new person that is new to the Atlassian ecosystem. All right, so Johanna said, I'm a project manager. I never use Jira. I know a lot of companies use it. I'm interested in understanding what kind of app qualification would be good in case I work. Yeah, so that's kind of the purpose of this training, Johanna. So I just showed you what Jira Align. I wanted to start with the hard one, the top of funnel, because why not? I wanted to spend the majority of the time talking about Jira. So in a few minutes, we'll be going deeper into just regular Jira, but I wanted to kick it off with Jira Align. So Admar, welcome to the Atlassian community. Hopefully Jira is the right tool for you, and hopefully this is beneficial because it's going to explain to you the different levels of Jira products that are available. All right, now that we got that, let's go to Jira Product Discovery. This tool, my friends, I like. Jira Product Discovery is one of Atlassian's newer tools, and it's an interesting tool. It's a tool that, if you've been using Jira for a long time, Jira Product Discovery is going to look familiar, but very different at the same time. What I like about Jira Product Discovery, and the reason that Jira Product Discovery is designed, is when you're working in Jira, which again, we're going to get to towards the end of this training, but when you're working, if you've been using Jira from a project management perspective, it assumes that you're working on approved work, right? This work has been vetted, these ideas have been vetted, and somebody has put some money against a project or a product that you're going to be building, right? So there's already knowns, right? And so you basically create a schedule, you create a budget, you figure out your sprints, and you got your technical team, you got your non-technical team, and everybody's just kind of executing, right? Jira is really focused on execution of the project. But what happens when you don't know what you're working on yet, right? What happens when you have a dopey idea and you're just trying to figure something out, right? You have just a light bulb moment in the shower, right? And you're like, "Ooh, this could be cool," right? Well, that's what Jira Product Discovery is for. Jira Product Discovery is going to be the tool, the version of Jira that you use to nurture, to brainstorm ideas, right? You want to You want to validate something, right? You don't know what it is yet. You don't know if your company wants to invest money in it yet. You don't know if this is going to be valuable. You don't know if your customers are going to care for it. You don't know the impact of it. You don't know how much effort's going to be required. You just don't know. You don't know a lot of stuff yet. And it doesn't make sense to put it into Jira yet because there's so many unknowns, right? And this is where Jira Product Discovery really bridges that gap. It allows us to come in, create what's called an idea, and then objectively and subjectively put information that will then give you value, or at least try to illustrate the value that this idea is going to have. And so this is a really great product. Again, one of the newer ones. Atlassian is consistently making changes. I believe the first time I saw this product was in April 2023. It's very, very basic then. It's gotten a lot better. The integration with Jira is getting a lot tighter, a lot better as well. And it's just a really valuable tool, especially if you're noodling or brainstorming on something, on some effort that you're just not sure. Now, I will tell you that Jira Product Discovery, the closest competitor to this is probably a tool like Aha, right? This is really not a tool for project management, but rather a tool for product management, right? So, anybody in the room here a product manager by title? Let me know in the chat. I'm very curious to see if we have any product managers in the house. But this would be a great tool where, again, your product managers are managing requirements, they're coming up with new ideas. Very, very cool and useful tool here. And one that, again, I highly recommend you check, you take a look. It is a lot more affordable than just Aha, and it's a lot more affordable than even doing this in Jira. And you do get some very interesting views. You get, my favorite thing about it is that there's a lot more color. There's goals. There's these impact scores. There's calculations that are very easy to figure out with. Anybody can come up with an idea. So there's like a contributor license that folks around your company can submit ideas. So it's not a pay to play like Jira. When we talk about Jira, everybody needs to have a license. Not in Jira Product Discovery. You have free licenses, and there's voting, and there's linking back to Jira. So it's a very powerful, very robust tool. But I like how they have it here: bring structure to chaos, right? Because when you just don't know at the beginning of this idea, this is a great tool to help us out. My least favorite thing though is this product roadmap. I don't like this view, but a lot of people do enjoy the roadmapping view. I just visualize roadmaps very differently in my mind. But there is a roadmap capability into it. And then there's a connection, right? So you can create initiatives or epics or stories within Jira and connect them together and see from within Jira Product Discovery how the delivery of that idea is happening. So it's a pretty cool tool that can also give you a more end-to-end visualization, from the whole idea to from idea to delivery. So very, very cool. Very, very awesome if you haven't tried it out yet. So that's your product discovery. I'm going to pause here then to just answer some questions, see what's going on in the chat. We got Johan says there's a lot of prerequisites. Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Johan's also an Atlassian consultant for 10 years, used it before for a few years. Yeah, awesome. I've never had a chance to use Jira. We're still talking about Jira in this one, but that's kind of cool. Steven, North Carolina, 5 to 6 years in experience with Jira. So we'll try to kick it up a little bit, Steven, and hopefully give you a little bit of information that you might not know. Nicola is a big fan of Jira Product Discovery, so I'm a huge fan as well. Justin's from Detroit, got 2 to 3 years in Jira as a user and about a year as an admin. So Justin, you might be interested in some of my other courses as well, because I do have one for Jira administration. Sandra recently started working at the company that uses Jira. I'm in the process of optimization, so anytime I need anything from IT, I have to use Jira. Yeah, so this is cool. This is a lot of so Sandra, you're a great transition to the next Jira product. So hold your thought there. We're going to transition to Jira Service Management in a second. Orla says we looked at creating idea projects where teams can submit ideas and feedback, and then we've worked it so that the idea can be linked to the initiative. Yeah, this is exactly, Orla, you're describing exactly the way Atlassian intends you to use it. So this is a great use case there. Lori says we do the same. Great work. Yep. So Lori's on board too. Orla says we created an ideas project where teams can submit. Okay. Yep. So I think that's a duplicate. I'm not sure why I'm getting some duplicates here. Johan says, does Jira Product Discovery work well with higher issue types over the Epic? Yes. So when you, let's go into Jira and let me show you. So when you go into Jira, you're gonna see you're gonna be able to filter by product. And so I have a Jira product discovery one here. I'll go into this one. And when you open an idea up, there is a delivery section here. And okay, thank you. Advertisement. You can create a delivery ticket, and it depends on the project you're in. So you need to be in a project that has that idea or that issue type above the epic. So I'm gonna shoot blindly here because I don't know which projects I have. We'll see. We'll see if we get lucky. I'm gonna do this one. Nope, I was not lucky there. Let's see company strategy. Here we go. See, this company A strategy has an initiative issue type, which if you look at my hierarchy, would have the initiative above the epic. And so it'll work that way as well. So you can select issue types above the epic. Right, Jira party. Yes. So Rohit, great observation. This is something that Atlassian doesn't really publicly advertise, but in case you're familiar with the distinction between a company managed and a team managed project, all Jira product discovery projects are team managed by nature, which means there are no shared resources here, right? You're not the workflow that you create here, the fields that you create, the user management, permissions, and all that, that is unique to that project. So you're not going to have the ability to like share settings. But I think for this particular case, that might not be a bad thing. And it also gives you, the user, a lot of autonomy to be able to get creative with the fields and information, the calculations that are important for you and your particular team. So, all right. So last question here. Great to hear. Is it still a form linking? The hierarchy is not enforceable. So Atlassian's getting better with this one, Johan. But yeah, it's still very bad from the hierarchy perspective. Mainly because, well, yes and no. It's good because you do see the downstream, right? So when you look over here and we look at this picture here, you do see, and I'm going to zoom in here. Let me see if I can make this picture any bigger. Okay, they do not. But you see this tiny little caret here, that shows you that it will preserve the hierarchy, right? So if you do the initiative and then your epics are below and then your stories are below that and your subtasks are below that, it will show you that whole hierarchy. So it does preserve that. What I don't like is that when you're looking at your Jira Advanced Roadmap, the idea is side saddled and it should really be the top of the funnel. And I think Atlassian's working on that, but I haven't seen anything good on that from that front. All right. So we're at the 22-minute mark, and so we got a lot more to cover. I'm going to answer a couple more questions here. Jira product is created for initial phase of product building before. Yes, exactly. So Shirag, you nailed it, right? This is the purpose of Jira product discovery is before you get into Jira, here's where you want to be because this is where you're trying to figure out, is whatever we're thinking about worth assigning it to a Scrum Master? Andrea says, you mentioned that you don't like the roadmap view in JPD. How do you envision it? So I'm more of a traditional. When I look at timelines or roadmaps, I think of this, right? So I think more like, come on, timeline. Why aren't you working? Here we go, this way. So I envision more of a traditional timeline that like this, where we have dates, right? We have real dates and real lengths of a project. The way Jira Product Discovery does it is, and I'll probably just go into Jira Product Discovery. The way they do it on their roadmap, it's like now, next, and later. Even though you can change all this, and even though they have like a timeline here, well, actually, this timeline view is new, so it's been a while. So this is new. So this I like, this I don't like. Okay, I just I don't know. I think more like a timeline. So I'm really glad that this is. I have not seen this view before, so I am excited to see this view. So this is kind of how I think about it from a timeline perspective. All right. So that's your part of discovery. Hopefully you all enjoyed that and hopefully that was beneficial, right? Because sometimes you're just not aware, right? Again, the purpose of this whole session today is we have all these tools under the Jira umbrella. And we've just looked at two very, very different tools that share the name Jira, but are not the Jira you probably have heard about. So we're building up to that. We're almost there. We got one more to cover. So up next, we're going to be talking about Jira Service Management. Now, Sarah, I believe it was Sarah earlier, Sandra, sorry, apologize, Sandra. Sandra says that her team uses it for from an IT perspective. And so Jira Service Management is a very, very different tool, very, very different than what we've been covering so far. And so Jira Service Management is an interesting tool. Atlassian is investing a lot of money into Jira Service Management. And if you use ServiceNow, if you and your company are using if you and your company are using ServiceNow today, this is the competitor to ServiceNow. Okay. This tool here is where Atlassian is investing a lot of energy and a lot of resources into trying to make into a robust ServiceNow like tool, right? And it's a really great tool. It's a tool that I've been using for the better part of like 4 years now. And ironically enough, I use JSM, Jira Service Management. I like to call it JSM, right? It's a great tool for IT. It's going to do IT really, really well. But I mainly use it for intake. I mainly use it not. I use it for like a replacement to Jira Product Discovery because Jira Product Discovery is such a new tool that not a lot of people have it, but a lot of people do have JSM. So I kind of force the Jira Product Discovery features into JSM. And so that's mainly what I use JSM for, but a lot of teams are using it for IT support. And so think of like Zendesk, think of ServiceNow, right? You can't log into your computer, you have a password problem, you need new equipment. All those kind of things are built into this tool that is pretty cool. Now, let me show you a little bit about JSM and kind of show you what it looks like. So JSM can be as complicated or as easy as you want it to be. But one of the reasons why we like JSM is that we have something called a portal. And I can never get to the portal from this particular view. So let me click around a little bit to get to my portals. Oh boy. Atlassian just hits you with those advertisements. Folks, I know how to use Jira. I know how to use it. I want to view this thing. Oh, it's at the bottom. I want to view it. Sorry, I'm way too zoomed in here. Okay, here we go. So this is one of the reasons why we like Jira Service Management. One, you get to build something called an intake portal, right? And this is all customizable to be whatever you want. You do have team managed and company managed versions of this. So you're allowed to create custom fields, or you can create team managed ones that are, again, a little bit more siloed, or you can standardize on these fields. You can add required fields. You can they have a form, a very, very powerful form capability. They have a form builder here that allows you to essentially create conditional logic. So what you can do with these forms is it allows you to say, hey, depending on which option I pick here, I want you to display something different below. This is the only place in Jira where you can do conditional formats like that, or conditional forms. Very, very powerful. And even though Jira has forms, they're weak. They're weak compared to this form here. So this is a really, really powerful form builder. It's very, very cool. Licensing from a JSM perspective is pretty expensive. JSM is a lot more expensive, but you only have to pay for the people that are going to work the requests. You only have to pay for those specific licenses. They call them agents. And so everybody else in your company is free. They're customers. And so a lot of companies just open up a customer license to every employee in your company. So anybody can submit a request, whether it's an IT request or whether it's an idea or whether it's whatever you want to collect or capture. I have teams that manage like their travel, right? So if somebody wants to submit a travel request because they need to go on travel, there's approvers in the workflow. So I can submit a request, and then that request is going to go to my manager automatically, and they can approve it or reject that travel request. And now we have that paper trail. Of course, you can use it for traditional things like I need a password reset, or I need a new phone, I need a new computer. So it works really, really well for that as well. It just has so many different applications. I've actually used it to do like project management, again, like a portfolio management where you are going to work on a new project and you want to get that submitted and approved, and you want to get the budgets so you can put numbers in here. Really powerful stuff there. Um, it's pretty cool. I think it's a very interesting, a lot of different use cases. One of my favorite features of JSM It's definitely that forms, right? Because it's very powerful, but it's also those approvals, right? Um, Jira workflows. I'm going to try to show it to you here inside this. Yes, let's get out of here. So the workflows inside of JSM, and this only works in JSM today. At least the best way is in JSM. I do know that Jira is slowly getting these features, but it's just not, not quite there yet. But in a JSM workflow, you can click on one of these statuses here and you have include approval step, which allows you to select how many approvers, whether you want a specific number of people or a specific number of people from a group or everyone. And you can select, is it coming from a Jira field? Where are your users, right? But you can do that. And when you set it all up, if they approve, it'll auto transition to whatever status you want. If they decline it, it'll go to a different status. And then you can also exclude like the assignee or the reporter from self-approving so that we can prevent like sabotage from happening. And so it's really cool. JSM right now is the only product that I'm aware of that does this at this level. I do know approvals are being built into Jira, but they're not like this. They're not they're not as powerful as this one. So that's another cool feature. What I'm not happy about though is just the pricing. JSM pricing is so expensive. Um, it's a very expensive solution, but when you look at it, like when you compare it to like ServiceNow, it's really cheap. But I would say 99% of you can probably get away with just standard, so $20 a month for again just the people that are going to work the tickets. You don't. Not everybody needs a license. All your users can submit requests for free. There's also a brand new developer license. I forgot what they call it. I think it's a contributor license or something like that. But there's a new license where your developers, if they have a Jira license, they can also interact, limited, but they can interact with JSM requests. So it's great if somebody submits a bug, right, or an incident, then your developer, you can give that incident to your developers, and then they can go and talk back to the customer, or sorry, not talk to the customer. They can internally talk with the agent and just have conversations. So your IT support and your developers can talk to each other in JSM for free. So that's pretty powerful as well too. So I really, really like this tool. I spend a lot of time in JSM, just not doing ITSM though. Unfortunately, I don't use it for ITSM, but it is very powerful from that perspective. If you are on the premium version, you do get a couple of other cool things. You get these virtual service agents. So using AI, like if somebody's always stuck, right, and they're always like, "Oh, I forgot my password. We're back from the holidays." Well, the virtual service agent can interact through Slack or Teams, and they can answer the agents can answer questions so that you don't have to get tickets created all the time. They also have this asset and configuration management. This is a very, very powerful feature. Not a lot of teams use it correctly, but it is a very powerful feature that allows you to track all your IT assets. And like if I have a computer and my computer screen broke, knock on wood, I don't want it to break. But if your computer screen were to break, you can like Jira will know that who I am and the assets that belong to me, and then I can just select it from the list and submit a ticket against that asset. So pretty powerful stuff there. Um, and yeah, that's basically JSM um, in a nutshell. Again, some cool things. I really like it. It's one of if I'm not in Jira, I'm most likely in JSM. Those are the two tools that I spend the majority of my time in. And JSM also has an ACP. It's called the ACP 420. I am not planning on taking that one just yet, but that is the whole like how do we architect a service management project does have it's so involved that it does have its own certification as well, the ACP 420. So definitely check them out. Check out JSM if you haven't already. It's a pretty cool tool there. Now, with that said, let me answer some questions here, and then folks, we are jumping into Jira. I promise you, Jira is the next one. So here we go. I'm scrolling back up to the top just to Chirag says, I guess JSM's to manage IT operations, support, manage tickets. Yes. So Chirag, that is one of the applications. Again, JSM is so customizable that you can do whatever you want with it. But the key part is, unlike Jira, where in Jira everybody needs to have a license, in JSM you can have that customer license, so you can get very creative with what kind of experience people have in Jira. One last thing I'll show you here before we go back. When you submit a request, you have every user will have this request portal part, so they can see the tickets that they've submitted. and you can add comments, so you can interact with the agent, and the agent can interact with you. You can see the status of things. So this is all built in, and so your end user has a lot of visibility into what's going on with their requests, which is again very, very powerful. I don't see a lot of other tools doing this well. A lot of tools do it, but they don't do it well. And I think Atlassian nailed it on this one. So let's see what else we got here. Atlassian has to figure out how JSM and assets work together first. Yes. I hate assets. I avoid assets like the plague. It is a very complex thing. And fun fact, like Jira Align, which is also a complex beast, assets was an acquisition as well. So they acquired. And an even more fun fact, in April 2023, Jira went down. Jira hardly ever goes down, but like on stage during the team conference in April 2020, was it 22? No, 22. In 2022, in April 2022, during the team conference, while the executives like are on stage describing all the new features, Jira went down, and it was because of assets. Somebody accidentally deleted something and like deleted the actual JSMs for a lot of customers. So that was a little fun little thing that was a result of this asset management thing. I just don't like assets. Very complex, too complex for what I need. Coco says JSM is great for IT service tool and have robust integrations with third-party apps. I've been using it. Yes, so that is Coco. Great thing, but something that we do want to mention, um, in Jira Product Discovery and in Jira Align, there's not that many integrations that I'm aware of. But when we talk Jira Service Management and Jira that we're going to talk about next, there's a lot of integration. So you can expand the power so much more. In fact, speaking of assets, I usually recommend when somebody needs to do assets, I usually recommend don't double your bill, because as you can see from 20 to 47, that's more than double the cost. And I usually recommend, if you really truly just want to do like inventory management or something like that, there's inventory apps in the Atlassian marketplace that will do things like assets, but without paying more than 2 times the bill. So lots of opportunities there. Johan says pretty important to know the URL for certs. Yeah, so I haven't taken the cert for 420, but I'm not sure. But I'm just gonna put this in here, Atlassian University. If you go to Atlassian University, I'll drop a link here for the different. Well, I'm just gonna get certified, because there you're gonna see everything. But if you're interested in the certifications, I'm gonna drop those here just so you can see. And then I'm gonna go over to my other YouTube channel. So I have a YouTube channel for the Jira Life that I told you about earlier. And if you go on there, this is again my podcast. Subscribe. Please consider subscribing. If you're enjoying this content, you're gonna love what we do on the Jira Life here. But I have playlist for ACP 120. So I'm gonna drop my ACP 120 study sessions here. So you can drop it here. So you can take a look at that playlist. So if you are studying for the ACP 120, that's there. And then APTEC ACP 520. So if you want to study for the 520, I also have a playlist for the 520. So you can check those out. Hey, I'm wearing the same sweater from like a year ago. So ACP 520 study sessions. So check those 2 playlists out. And starting, I believe next week, I'm going to start the ACP 620. We're going to start doing about 14 live streams there, 12 to 14 live streams. So if you're interested, those aren't coming through Bevy. Those aren't coming through Atlassian. But if you're interested, again, subscribe to the channels. It's so important that you subscribe to both the Jira Life and to this APTEC one, because I would just put so much content out there for you all. If you're interested in studying and following along with the ACP 620 study sessions, make sure you subscribe there. Zakari says, unfortunately, the customer reporting is lacking in many respects, especially when it comes to customization. Yes. Yeah, unfortunately, so I will agree with you. I would recommend Socati though. Socatelli. Take a look at forms. If you're not using forms in your portal, like it's a little bit more customizable there. It's a little bit more powerful. But overall, the portal is lacking some customizations. But as far as basics go, it does what it needs to do. There are basically 3 types of forms in Jira. Yes, forms in JSM, forms in Jira. Yep, and yep. So great observation there, Johan. I think that's it. So let's see. Oh, we got a Rodney Estrada says, can you explain or demo how to best use Data Manager with assets or JSM? That will have to be its own independent course, Rodney, but definitely something we can explore and take a look at. Um, because there's just not enough information on how to use assets. And I do have a couple of buddies that swear by assets. So I'm gonna connect with them and maybe we can do something together because I definitely would love to put some information out there on how to use this assets and data manager. So great feedback there, Rodney. I will definitely explore this a little bit more. All right, folks, we are done with those products. We are down to the last one, to Jira. Just want to remind you before we go into this and before you start dropping off, we do have exclusive offer here for you all available when we're done talking about Jira. So make sure you stick around. You aren't going to want to miss out on that exclusive offer. So let's talk a little bit about Jira. Now, this is the pride and joy. This is the product that started it all. It was formerly called Jira Software, and it used to be called Jira Work Management, as you saw in the post right now, JWM. Atlassian, May 1st of 2024, they kind of killed both off and just created a new product called Jira. I know it's revolutionary, it's mind blowing, but essentially all it means is that Atlassian has taken the essence of what is Jira software and they've taken the essence of what is Jira work management and they merged it into the only project management tool you'll need to plan and track work across every team. So when we talk Jira, when you hear the words Jira, this is most likely the product that you're talking about. I like to tell people that Jira is the project management tool that if you're an agile team, right? If you're doing sprints, if you need a backlog, if you need a burn down chart, if you need to do like user stories, you need to do story point estimation, Jira is the tool you need. All of those five things that I just mentioned do not exist in any of the other Jiras. Jira align a little bit, but it's not the main thing, right? And so if you're into that, right? If that's the framework that your company uses, agile, right? Kanban, Scrum, then this is the tool for you to use. It does agile the best out of all the tools in the enterprise. It's the one that I like the most and it just does it really really well. Now, because Atlassian has merged Jira Work Management with Jira Software to just make Jira, they've created a new problem for themselves. And that is an identity problem. And again, I'm not being paid or anything. These are my thoughts. These are my opinions. Everything, in fact, this whole training, these last 42 minutes have just been my thoughts and my opinions. Atlassian does not pay me in any way, shape, or form to tell you any of the things that I've told you today. Okay. And so what Atlassian is doing, the situation that Atlassian has found themselves in is that Jira, because it's been around since like 2002 or 2003 or something like that, it's a really old tool. It was primarily focused on software development. So a lot of people, when they think of Jira, they think of two things. They think of IT help desk, like JSN that we just talked about, or they think of software development. But what Atlassian is really, really trying to make it known to everybody is that Jira does everything for everyone. So it works for marketing teams. It works for IT. It works for designers. It works for operations. It works for legal. It works for HR. It works for any department in your company. It is not just for agile development teams either, right? It used to be that that was like the only use case, right? That was the best use case. And even today, if you're an agile team, you're going to get the best bang for your buck. If you are a company that uses sprints, that uses agile, that does scrum, story points, you need your backlog, right? You need your rank and all that good stuff. If that's the type of company you are in, then Jira is still the best tool for you, right? It's still going to do the best and you're going to have the best experience there. And even today in the new UI, it's still optimized for that. But Atlassian is making substantial changes under the hood where a lot of the capabilities that you don't need because Agile requires you to have a lot of rigor. Specifically, if you're a Scrum team, you need a lot of discipline. There's a lot of rules, right? There's sprint planning, there's sprint retros, there's sprint demos, there's like grooming and prioritization and definitions of done, and so many different technical terms that make you quote unquote agile. And again, Jira software is going to do that really well, right? But there's also a lot of teams that just need a task tracker, right? And so this brings us to Rodney's question here of, well, where does Trello fit, right? Like, what's the difference now between Trello and Jira? Because it used to be that if you were a true software agile company, then Jira software was the product and the tool that you needed to use. But if you just needed a task tracker, then you would use Trello. But then somewhere along the line, Atlassian introduced Jira Work Management, which was basically Jira's version of Trello. And Jira Work Management never quite lived up to the Trello hype. But what Atlassian is doing very interestingly now is they're folding in Trello into Jira. And so I personally think Trello is going to be killed off sooner rather than later. Um, Trello still has its values, and in the free space, Trello is a very valuable tool. But I see a lot of the capabilities and a lot of the design language from Trello making its way into what we now call Jira. It's an interesting phenomenon there with Trello. But all that is to say is that if you do not want to do sprints, if you do not want to do story points, if you do not care for epics and stories, and if you don't care for burn down charts and all that good agile stuff, then there's a template. So Atlassian calls these templates, and I'm going to jump into Jira and show you this to you now. So when you go to create a project, there's all these templates. And so we still have our software templates, right? We still have the templates that are tried and true. They've been around for forever and a half. But we have these work management templates, right? Atlassian just calls everything work now. And in my opinion, Atlassian's slowly but surely killing off Agile. But that's a different discussion for a different day. Um, but that is my opinions aside. Uh, the work templates allow you to do any kind of work, whether you just want to do a task tracker, right? If you literally just need a very simple to do in progress and done, and you're trying to coordinate with your team to be able to just track tasks, right? You want to assign Billy and Timmy and Jimmy need to each have a task, and you want a centralized location. You could use Trello, or you can now just use Jira because Jira will work for any use case now. It doesn't have to be very specific to very technical teams. So there's all these templates: onboarding, process control, sales pipeline, go to market, web design, document approvals, campaign management if you're doing like email campaigns, recruitment, budget creations, procurement, content managers. If any of you are content managers like me, this will work. A personal task planner, right? If you just need even if you're just a team of one and you just need to be accountable, Jira does personal task planning, right? And it's so simple, right? It's not complex. These items here, human resources, right? There's so many predetermined templates that Atlassian has already made for you. And if you're a design team, you have like asset creation. If you're operations, you have RFPs and procurements. If you're in legal, you have IP infringements, right? If you're in sales, you have your pipeline. So as you can see, there's a lot of different templates that are already pre-configured so that you can jump into Jira and be very, very productive. And this, my friends, is where it makes it hard for me to describe what Jira is because Jira is everything now. Jira is the tool, as they say, right? The only project management tool you'll need, because regardless of the style, the framework, or the techniques that you have, Jira is gonna work for you. Now, I'm still gonna see Jira as the agile tool that it is until Atlassian kills it off, which I still think they might sooner rather than later. But this is mainly the reason why people use Jira. But keep in mind that any tool will work. Now, if you're interested in seeing how this stuff works a little bit differently, specifically like for marketing teams, um, I did a series last year, at the end of last year in November, called Jira for Marketers. I don't think I have it in a playlist, but I'll drop one of the videos here. Hold up. Let me see if I did drop this into a playlist. I don't think I did. I should drop this into a playlist. But I have my Jira for marketing here. And so I'm going to drop this in here where you guys can check those out. This is just a different way to use Jira, right? If you're a non-technical team, you might be interested in using Jira for one thing or another. And there's definitely a lot of applications there. So that's kind of it. And let's answer some questions here, and then I'll show you a couple more slides, and then we'll go into our Q&A section here. So Dia says Jira Work Management used to be Jira Core from yes. So if you're on the data center side of the house, or server versions, yeah, Jira Core is what Jira Work Management used to be. But again, it's just all Jira now. Okay, we talked about that. Jeremy just says, your content's amazing. Can you do Jira recurring tasks without doing complex automations? I not outside of the box, but I am working with a new company. So this part not sponsored yet, but I'm part of my sponsorships. As I would recommend you look at this. We have the Atlassian Marketplace. Oh boy, I need to remember. I should not do this publicly on the internet, especially since they're sponsoring me. Boy, it's under Siebert. It's oh boy, come on. Let me. Oh boy, I should not do this again when I am just. I got an email. And there's an email somewhere. I got to remember my sponsors and remember who's sponsoring me and how they're sponsoring me, because there's a lot of information in here that I get. All right, I'm gonna have to owe it to you, but there is an app. There's a plugin. I do believe it's a Siebert plugin. Actually, maybe if I type in Siebert, it'll pop up to me. And not Mantra, not Awesome. Was it Siebert? I thought it was Siebert. Oh boy, I really should not be doing these publicly, because then I put myself in a bad situation. But there is a plugin that allows you to do templates. And so it's really, really cool. It's really, really interesting. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be dropping these videos more. But what they allow you to do is it allows you to create like a predetermined set of questions, I guess, if you will. And oh, here we go. I found it. Maybe it wasn't Siebert. Let's find out. I thought it was Siebert. Template team. I know this. Yeah. So it is Siebert. Whew. Okay. Lucas, if you're watching this, I got it. I got there. So it's a Siebert app, and this app right here allows you to create your like bunch of recurring tasks, and with a couple of buttons, it'll just recreate them for you over and over and over. So this is probably one that you would want to check out, because it allows you to do exactly what you said without having to do the automation rules. So definitely subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be dropping a video on how this app works in the next couple of weeks, and I'll have more information there. But this is something I would recommend. All right. John says, Rodney, the only link in Trello currently managed accounts in your Atlassian organization. I don't know. I don't understand that question, but yes. I will add some light here. So if your company is an enterprise, and specifically if you're using Atlassian Guard and you own your company's domain, you're at apetech.com or whatever, then your Trello users count against your Atlassian Guard so that they can use SSO. So you want to be careful there. Coco says, I notice many people in organizations I work with in IT operations often confuse Jira. Yes, so that's Coco. So that was the whole purpose of why we have this video. So send this to as many people as you know, to help them clarify the differences between all the different Jiras. That is exactly why this is where I wanted to start this whole series off for 2025, is to solve exactly that problem. Andrea says, I've seen that Atlassian certifications have 24 validity. How do you maintain certification? Yeah, so Andrea, so Atlassian has just revamped it within the last 3 or 4 months. They revamped their renewals. Being in this course, signing up for this course gives you credits. So they're on a point system now, and you can attend. I have 48 of these, so make sure you attend as many as they allow. But going to the Atlassian conference, taking or participating in this, there's a bunch of other options, but they're on a point system now, so you don't have to retake the test. You can just simply earn points, and your certification will automatically renew. Let's see. Anything else here? Let's, you know what? Because I only have 5 minutes left here. I'm going to go into our special offer. So I'm going to go full screen for you all here. This is something I've never done before. So let's see how this works. But as part of this course, as part of this Getting Started for Jira, I have like a 4 to 5 hour course called Jira Fundamentals. And it's normally 90. There's a link here. I'm going to drop it into the chat as well. And so we're going to do this. We're going to copy paste it into the chat. And so if you sign up for my Jira Fundamentals, Jira Cloud Fundamentals course, you'll get, using that link only, and only that link, it's $12.99. So it's a lot cheaper, and you can get it. But the bonus and the exclusiveness of it is, if you sign up today, because I get to see on Udemy who signs up for the courses. So if your date is today for January 7th, this will only work if you sign up January 7th, right? So if you sign up today, my time is super expensive and super valuable. You will get a free 15-minute session with me. So I will personally reach out to you through Udemy. So you'll get an email from Udemy with me from it. So don't think it's spam or anything like that. But if you sign up today, you buy the course, I will give you the free 15-minute session. Normally, those 15-minute sessions are about $50 an hour. So it's a $50 offer here. That again, if you sign up, take the class or sign up for the class, then I will personally reach out to you and you'll get, so you can ask me whatever you want. I can help you with whatever Jira problems you have. I can take a look at your Jira. You can show me, ask questions, whatever you want, Jira related. We can talk about that. So that's happening only today. So again, if you buy it today and I see it, I will reach out to you today. Again, only today, January 7th. If you're watching the replay, you can still use the link to get the discount, but only folks that are buying it today are going to get the one-on-one sessions with me. Now, not all hope is lost. If you want to take your skills to the next level, a couple of things that I recommend. Again, we're going to go back to the first link that I dropped earlier in the training here. There's a link tree. Uh-oh, we're seeing only partial links. Hopefully, can anybody confirm if we can see the full link here? It should be the full. Just use the coupon code Atlassian, I guess. Okay. Oh, Raquel solved it. Okay, great. So, anyways, if you go to the link tree, if anything, just connect with me on LinkedIn. I love to connect with all of you. So send me a LinkedIn request. I'm always posting a lot of content and a lot of information on there. So follow me on LinkedIn. I do have a membership opportunities here through the YouTube, and I have it through Buy Me Coffee. I recommend the Buy Me Coffee. But as part of that, you also do get one-on-one time with me. And I'm developing 3 new courses on Udemy. And so if you become a member as one of our new bonuses for 2025, is you're going to get the courses, the videos, the modules as they're being developed. So that's coming out. And I do plan on basically launching like 6 or 7 courses this year. So make sure you become a member there. I also have free courses, so it's not all paid stuff, right? I have a lot of free courses. Sato has a lot. This channel has 800 videos. I already dropped the ACP 120, the 520, and again, we're going to be working on the 620. And so again, more courses coming soon. I do have a merch store, so if you want to get some nerdy Jira nerdy shirts, they're on the merch store. Subscribe to this channel. Go subscribe to the Jira Life. And then I am going to be doing a monthly or quarterly, I haven't decided yet, instructor-led courses. So if you want to be able to interact with me and like actually come on microphone, I'm going to have exclusive courses available this year that are going to be taking this Udemy stuff and this course that we're having and taking it to the next level. So definitely at least follow me on LinkedIn so you can stay in the loop when all these things happen. So with that said, we're going to take the last couple minutes here and see if there's any more questions. Oh, Robert here says, you add the sessions from Cert Metrics portal, by the way. So for the person that had the questions on the cert on the certification renewal, Robert Wen, he's my partner in crime. You go to Cert Metrics and you add your sessions there. I haven't had a renew because I just got the ACP 120 and the 520 not even a year ago yet. And so that's a me problem in the future. I haven't had to worry about it yet. Ronnie's asking, have you turned on Rovo in your JSM? If so, can you show how to best practice? So I have not turned on Rovo. I'm hoping that as an Atlassian creator, Atlassian opens up Rovo to us. But I have not seen anything positive in Rovo field area yet. So Ronnie, I will follow up with my Atlassian representatives and see if there's anything they can do for us. But as of right now, you have to pay for JSM Premium, which is freaking expensive, and then you have to pay an extra fee on top of that for Rovo. And I'm hoping Atlassian and enables us as content creators to do those things for them. So I will definitely surface that one up as well, Ronnie. But it definitely sounds like you're a power user from what I'm seeing, and I can see you can definitely benefit from much more technical, much more precise content there. So that Dia that so hopefully Robert answered your question there. Azine says, what's the best way to measure, calculate the benefit value to a project team who Jira's solutions been deployed to? So the best way, Azine, you might benefit from this whole like one-on-one sessions stuff, but it's not a 5-minute answer, right? So there's ways for you to create custom fields, and then use subjective custom fields that have data, and then through some automation rules, I can sit with you and kind of help you figure it out. But it is possible for you to calculate some value through the utilization of custom fields and automation rules to kind of create this environment that allows you to capture this kind of data. So it is possible, not easy, and not something you'll probably find a documentation on. So definitely reach out to me if you're interested in that. Shara says, how does Atlas and platform fit into this? So great question. Atlas is a gold thing that Atlassian is working on, and it's still being figured out. So right now, Atlas is still its own separate thing, but in the new version of Jira and the new updated UI, Atlas is being folded in naturally into Jira. I don't have any content on that yet, mainly because the way Atlas is being rolled out right now is to your profile, and I have access to like 30 different Jiras, and it just contaminates things. So Atlassian, I need to give Atlassian some feedback because Atlas is just not being done correctly, at least for people like me that have access to too many different Jiras. So stay tuned. Hopefully I can get something soon. And with that, folks, we are at time. Again, highly recommend if you go to Udemy today, just as a reminder, Udemy today only January 7th. If you sign up for that course, $12.99, you will get one-on-one sessions with me. Okay. Very, very important. Very, very special. This is not sustainable. So hopefully not all 100 of you go and sign up today. Otherwise, I'm going to be on a lot of sessions for a long time. But the few of you that will take advantage of this, I can assure you that 15 minutes with me is worth your time. So it's going to be worth your $13. So with that said, thank you very much, folks. Again, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.